Hello. Good morning. Is it morning? Yeah, it's on this morning. I mean, 3 minutes left of morning. Okay. Oh well. I just coming on live here and I need to just make a couple of adjustments. Looks all right, I guess. Some of your destinations have errors. Yes. What else is new? All right. Well, that seems to be pretty good there. Um, hmm. Don't see anybody out there. Don't see anybody joining in. Interesting. Well, I am Sharon Schultz, and I'm known as the Bay Lady. I live in the Chesapeake Bay region of Maryland, and it's a beautiful area. There's all kinds of, different landscapes in Maryland, different places, fun places, historic places. And that's what I do. I kind of showcase those and share the beautiful Chesapeake Bay region with you. This isn't one of those, however. This is Beatles Trivia. It's something that I started a while back. And there's a few people that kind of hang on and join in, and it's kind of a fun thing to do. And people of like minds. So, anyway, that's what we are doing here today. Um, Please know that you can find my tours, Bay Lady, on Facebook and on YouTube, particularly either one of those. There are other platforms that have come into play after the crash of Hago, that virtual touring company. That was like 2 years ago. And really, there hasn't been anything to replace it. Many have tried, but few have succeeded. So I'm just going to go on my own here and hope to get a following. Please know that all of my tours are tip funded entirely. In other words, my platform exists from the generosity of the people who watch my videos and want to see more of them. And for me, it helps to have a little gas money when I go running around to all these gorgeous places. So you can fund my platform at buymeacoffee.com. You'll find the link to it on my Facebook page and also on YouTube, I do believe. Anyway, so we're here for Beatles Trivia, and I usually talk about, anything that is currently going on in the world of the Beatles before we start playing trivia. So, having said that, I recently acquired 3 new Beatles CDs. You say, what? New? How could that be? Well, I can. This has been out for a little while, now and then. This is the song that was discovered by the Beatles that John Lennon had written and not never published or recorded. I mean, yeah, never really did anything with it. So it was a process. Paul and Ringo worked together to create this recording of the Beatles singing Now and Then. And they dubbed in their voices and their portions, and they spliced in recordings from George and, his vocals and such. And they put out a pretty cool little song here. So it's called Now and Then. And it has 2 actual songs on it, Now and Then and Love Me Do. They remastered Love Me Do. So that was kind of nice. Hang on, I dropped something here. Okay, so this is available wherever you get your music. Next up, one hand clapping. Oh my goodness, this is getting a lot of press and a lot of exposure. It is a recording, it's a 2-disc set. And it is a recording of the 1974 studio sessions that Wings did. It was, let's see, it was Paul McCartney, his wife Linda, Denny Lane, um, Jeff the drummer, and oh my goodness, I can't think of um, Jimmy McCullough. There we go. Anyway, so they released the album, and of course they remixed it and such, and it's good. You know, a lot of the songs you're familiar with, a lot of Wings' greatest hits or whatever. And I just found out today that on September 26th, a movie length video of this album will be shown in theaters everywhere, supposedly throughout the country, other countries too, right? So One Hand Clapping is now a movie that we can go see next month. Yay! And again, it's the 1974 studio sessions at Abbey Road that they recorded. So this came out a couple months ago, maybe, probably not that long. And then recently, here's our third new Beatles album. It's a remix of John Lennon's Mind Games. It's good. It's great. Mind Games was a really wonderful album anyway. Great CDs. And it's all, as I said, been reborn here. So now we have new music from the Beatles, the Four, new music from John Lennon, and new music from Paul McCartney. Paul is still out there. We know he's still out there, just rocking and rolling. He turned 81 years old in this past June, and like I said, he's still alive and well and kicking. So more power to him, and yay for us because we get to benefit from his music. So, speaking of music, let me do one little thing here. Alexa, please play the remix of John Lennon's album Mind Games.
Mind Games, ultimate mixes by John Lennon on Amazon Music.
There we go. Now we'll have some background music, right? There we go. The title cut, Mind Games. Can you hear it? I don't want it to be too loud to drown me out. Let me know if you can hear it all right. You can chat. There should be a chat there. YouTube can chat with me, and also those watching on Facebook. It's going out simultaneously to both. It's supposed to be anyway. And so both platforms can chat with me, but you can't see each other's chats. Okay, if you're on Facebook, you're only going to see Facebook chats. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're only going to see other YouTubers chatting. So that's how it goes. Anyway, so I think that we shall start. Let's see. Let it be. Please, please. Let's see. Okay. We'll use this one. And, well, we'll start at the beginning. Where do we get? Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, now this book that we are using, okay, is just a basic trivia book. I have several that we use, and The great thing about this is that if you didn't know the answer, you will when you're done. So you can test your knowledge and test your memories and, learn something new. So here we go. First question. He's as blind as he can be, just sees what he wants to see. Is from which of the following songs? Hang on 1 minute. Okay. Which of the following songs? A, Me, Mr. Mustard. B, Mother Nature's Son. C, Fool on the Hill. Or D, Nowhere Man. Okay, let me do it again. He is as blind as he can be, just sees what he wants to see. Is it Me, Mr. Mustard, Mother Nature's Son, Fool on the Hill, or Nowhere Man? Hey, Martin. I say Nowhere Man too. How are you, Martin? Glad you're there. Okay, so what is the answer? Let us find out. D, Nowhere Man. Talk one up for Martin. Martin is our like Beatles expert. He knows a lot of this, right? Okay. Next question. The only song ever recorded that is credited as Harrison Lennon is an instrumental called Tears for a Shadow. Is that true or false? The only song ever recorded that's credited as a Harrison Lennon composition is an instrumental called Tears for a Shadow. Is that true or false? I've never heard of it. Tears for a Shadow. You think we would have. I've never heard of that. So Martin says false. I've never heard the song, so I'm going to go with false as well. Anybody else out there want to play? Okay, the answer is B, false. Okay, yeah, that was false. Next question. I don't want to sound complaining, but there's always rain in my heart. Is from which song? Ooh, I don't know this one. I don't want to sound complaining, but there's always rain in my heart. Is from what song? Well, the choices are A, I'm a loser. B, rain. C, please, please me. And D, misery. So I don't want to sound complaining, but there's always rain in my heart. I don't recall those lyrics, but it leads me to think that the answer might be rain, the song Rain, right? Let's see. So the choices: I'm a loser, rain, please, please me, or misery. Okay, Martin says, please, please me. And that could well be. All right, let's find out. C, please, please. No, it's like, where'd that go? Okay, I'm back, whatever. Good golly, Miss Molly. Okay. Okay, everything's weird now on me here. My video screen went blank for a second, and the music almost sounded like a record skip, right? Okay. Anyway, the answer is please, please me. I have to play that song now and see if I can find that line. Okay, next question. What is Paul McCartney's brother's name? Is it Harry, Freddie, James, or Mike? It's Paul's brother. Harry, Freddie, James, or Mike. It was his younger brother, wasn't it? What Paul, the oldest of the two? I'm just speculating. Okay, let's see. All right. You'll remember. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going to do too. I'll play the song. Martin says I'll remember that line once I play the song again. And yeah, you're right. No doubt will. Okay, what about Paul's brother? I'm going to say his little brother. What was that little guy's name? Is it Harry, Freddie, James, or Mike? Now it's not James, okay? Because exactly, that's Paul's real name. His name actually is James Paul McCartney. You are correct, Martin. James Paul McCartney. His brother is Mike, okay? Michael McCartney. You never hear much about him. He kind of stayed in the background, didn't he? Never heard much about him. Okay, what was the name of the club in Liverpool where Brian Epstein first saw and heard the Beatles? The name of the club in Liverpool, I know everybody knows this, right? The name of the club in Liverpool where Brian Epstein first met the Beatles. Was it the Casbah, the Cavern, the Indra, or the Star? Casbah, Cavern, Indra, or the Star? Uh-huh. Michael Martin says the Cavern. Wasn't it the Cavern Club? I think was the full name, wasn't it? Cavern Club. And that is, of course, correct. Yep, B is B. Yep. Okay. Oh, here we go. What was the? I was just going to mention this too. I'll tell you in a minute. Let me give you the question. What was the name of George Harrison's sister? George Harrison's sister. The names are funny. Is it George Harrison's sister? Was her name Linda? Linda McCartney? Mm-hmm. Was her name Jane? Jane Asher, the actress. Was her name Patty? Or was it Louise? Linda, Jane, Patty, or Louise? Which one was George Harrison's sister? Now, the reason I said I almost mentioned that when we were talking about Mike, Paul McCartney's brother, and I was saying he stayed in the background pretty much. I I was gonna say that George Harrison's sister came out of the background a little bit. She was more heard of than Paul's brother. Anyway, Louise is correct, Martin. Yeah, her name was Louise, and it's funny. I was laughing at the other names because the choices they give you are Linda, Jane, Louise, and Patty. Well, Linda McCartney, Jane Asher, Patty Harrison. So Louise, right? So yeah, Louise Harrison. It's her name. All right, next question. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. What was the name of John Lennon's home in Liverpool? What was the name of his home in Liverpool? Was it Kenwood, Mendips, Tittenhurst, or Friars Park? Kenwood, Mendips, Tittenhurst, or Friars Park? I know what it is. So I know the answers to some of these this time. Usually I don't. So Kenwood, Mendips, Tittenhurst, or Friars Park? Let's see. Yeah, I'm right. No idea. Anybody know? It was Mendips, the second one. Kenwood, Mendips, Tittenhurst, or Friars Park. Yeah, the name of his house, his community was Mendips. Okay, well, here's a good one. Which Beatle had a father that once led his own band? Which Beatle had a father that once led his own band? There's only one clear choice here. And this father taught this Beatle everything he knew. It was like passed down. It was in the genes, right? Any idea who? Was it Paul, John, George, or Ringo? Which Papa had his own band? Paul, John, George, or Ringo? Absolutely. Yes, it was Paul. Paul's dad had a band. He played the piano, and that's where Paul got his music background from. So, thank you, Mr. McCartney, for teaching your son how to make music. Which Beatle, oh, which Beatle made the mistake of saying he liked jelly beans and was pelted with them the next time the Beatles performed? Which Beatle made the mistake of saying he liked jelly beans and was pelted with them the next time the Beatles performed? I remember hearing about that. All the fans were throwing jelly beans at them on stage, and those little suckers hurt when they hit, apparently. I don't know. I've never been hit with a jelly bean before, but so anyway, which one? Who said that? John is the guess. I think John said so. Probably did. Yeah, was getting them in trouble, wasn't he? B. Oh no, it wasn't John. We're wrong. Which Beatle made the mistake? It was George. I would have said John. It was George. Okay, George. Sorry we didn't give you credit for that. Okay, now here's another similar question. Who taught John Lennon to play the banjo? Who taught John Lennon to play the banjo? Was it Pete Shotton? Was it Paul McCartney? Was it Julia Lennon? Or was it Ivan Vaughn? Who taught John to play that old banjo? Pete Shotton, Paul McCartney, Julia Lennon, or Ivan Vaughn? Okay. Now, the answer here, okay, um, um, it again, like Paul, whose dad taught him, somebody here had another parent teach them to play the banjo. And that person was Julia Lennon. That was John's mom. John's mother used to have a banjo, and she would just play for her son. And I don't think she played professionally. She just played, and she taught John, which playing the banjo, learning those chords, of course, helped him to master the guitar, a few years later. Okay, next question. How did Brian Epstein die? I remember Brian Epstein was the Beatles manager. He discovered them at the Cavern Club in Liverpool, which was an earlier question here. And so, how did Brian die? Was it a heart attack, suicide, a drug overdose, or murder? Heart attack, suicide, drug overdose, or murder? Now, it was a sudden thing. We knew that much. Heart attack, suicide, drug overdose, or murder. Okay, well, it was a drug overdose. And that was kind of interesting because, Brian was the one with he was the original suit guy, he was very, prim and proper British businessman. So it's kind of weird that it was a drug overdose. I wonder what drug it was. I might have known at the time, but I don't recall now. Yeah, but it was a drug overdose because, I mean, if you think about it, and he was riding high. He was in his prime. The Beatles were successful, highly successful. So I don't think he purposely left them in the lurch, really. So I think it was just accidental. Okay, another question. Which of the following songs is an original Beatles tune? Now, remember, they used to, they used to do a lot of cover songs, especially when they started. So, which of the following songs is an original Beatles tune? Is it Long Tall Sally, Roll Over Beethoven, or I'm Down? Long Tall Sally, Roll Over Beethoven, or I'm Down. Which one could it be? Anybody? Anybody know? I'm Down. Yeah, I'm Down is the one. Roll Over Beethoven was a cover done originally by someone else, same as Long Tall Sally. What was the Beatles' debut single? Was it For Me to You, Love Me Do, She Loves You, or Please Please Me? What was their debut single? For Me to You, Love Me Do, She Loves You, or Please Please Me? Oh, now I'm thinking that when they released their songs, it when they released their songs, it was different. Love Me Do, which it's why it's on the now and then single. Well, that is good, probably true. But okay, in the U.S. and the U.K., sometimes it wasn't the same song that was released. Like some of the albums would have a different title, but it would be the same album. And sometimes they would have the same title, but the US would have the song that the UK didn't, or vice versa, or whatever. So, anyway, all right. So, their debut signals, keep saying signal instead of signal. Oh, my goodness. The answer is Love Me Do, of course. Very cool. But you know what? Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first song that I heard them sing was She Loves You, right? She Loves You, and I Want to Hold Your Hand. Wasn't that the 45 well, maybe it wasn't debut, but I remember that the first single little 45 record that I had I Want to Hold Your Hand on one side, and the flip side was She Loves You. So I can still see that little 45. Which song was not written by George Harrison? Is it I'm Happy Just to Dance with You, Something, Taxman, Only a Northern Song? Okay, which song not written by George? I'm Happy Just to Dance with You, Something, Taxman, or Only a Northern Song? What you think? This album, Mind Games, is good, isn't it? Okay, let's see which song. Okay. Okay. Which song was not written by George? The answer is the three. A, I'm Happy Just to Dance with You. Okay, so George wrote, I knew he wrote Taxman and Only a Northern Song. And something, didn't Paul sing that? Gosh, no, maybe not, I guess. Oh, right, something, okay. All right, so I'm Happy Just to Dance with You, George. You did that, not that right. Yep, Martin had that. All right. Okay, which of the following songs was neither written nor co-written by Ringo Starr? Which of the following stars was neither written nor co-written by Ringo Starr? Was it What Goes On, Don't Pass Me By, With a Little Help from My Friends, and Octopus's Garden? Okay. Which of the songs was neither written nor co-written by Ringo? What Goes On, but he sang that song. Don't Pass Me By. He sang all of these songs, but he only wrote three of them. What Goes On, Don't Pass Me By, with a little help from my friends, and Octopus's Garden. Okay, which is it going to be? Alexa, where'd you go?
I'm here, ready to answer your question.
Watch this. Alexa, which of the following songs was neither written nor co-written by Ringo Starr? What Goes On, Don't Pass Me By.
It's not written or co-written by Ringo Starr, as it was composed by Elton John and Bernie Taupin.
Okay. I shouldn't know either. Okay. The answer is C, with a little help from my friends. Thank you, Martin. That's getting some help from my friends. Yes, indeed. Okay. Which Beatles song does not include a reference to a previous Beatles song? Which Beatles song does not include a reference to a previous Beatles song? Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Glass Onion, I Am the Walrus, or All You Need Is Love. Okay, the four choices. Which song doesn't have a reference to a previous Beatles song? Lucy in the Sky, Glass Onion, I Am the Walrus, All You Need Is Love. Okay, which could it be? With a little help from my friends. Yeah, Steve was a little help from my friends. Yes, indeed. Okay, now which song doesn't include a reference to a previous Beatles song? The answer to it's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Glass Onion, I Am the Walrus, or All You Need Is Love. And the answer is Lucy. Yeah, you got it, Martin. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Now I have to listen to the other three and see what it says about previous Beatles songs. Okay, which album comes first chronologically? Revolver, Magical Mystery Tour, Sergeant Pepper, or Rubber Soul? Which album comes first chronologically? Revolver, Magical Mystery Tour, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, or Rubber Soul? Okay, I am going to attempt to put them in order. Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sergeant Pepper, and Magical Mystery Tour. Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sergeant Pepper, Magical Mystery Tour. That's my guess as to the order of all of them. The correct answer, however, is D, Rubber Soul. Rubber Soul was the first. Okay. Which of the following tracks is not included on the White Album? Which of the following tracks is not included on the White Album? Savory Truffle, Blackbird, Revolution, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Savory Truffle, Blackbird, Revolution, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Correct. Blackbird. Yeah? You think Revolution, Martin says. Trying to think of the White Album. That was such a good album. I had a lot of songs on it. Well, let's find out what the answer is. C, Revolution. You got it. Although, right, Revolution and they're both on there, correct? Revolution number 9 is on the White Album also, right? In what year did the Beatles officially disband? What year did they officially disband? 1981, 1975, 1968, or 1970? Okay, so 1981, 1975, 1968, or 1970? Which one? When did they officially disband? I know the answer. 1970 is correct. Yes, indeed. 1970. That was the year that they did the concert on the rooftop, or did they do that the year before in 1969? I know it all kind of fell apart at the same time, I guess. Okay, in 1960, Pete Best joined the Beatles as a lead vocalist, drummer, guitarist, or keyboard player. Pete Best joined the Beatles in 1960 as lead vocalist, drummer, guitarist, or keyboard player. Drummer. Absolutely correct. Okay, who was the oldest Beatle? George, Paul, Ringo, or John? John, Paul, George, or Ringo? Who's the oldest? John, Paul, George, or Ringo? The oldest Beatle. Anybody? Ringo. Absolutely. Yeah, their age, it was Ringo. Ringo's the oldest, George is the youngest. In age, the oldest, Ringo, John, Paul, George, in that order. What Beatles song was the first to make, oh, here we go. What was the first Beatles song to make it to number one on the UK charts? Okay. What Beatles song was the first to make it to number one on the UK charts? Was it My Bonnie, From Me to You, Please Please Me, or Love Me Do? My Bonnie, From Me to You, Please Please Me, or Love Me Do? First to make it number one on the UK charts. And I think we know what the answer is, right? Oh, no, we don't. Oh my goodness. Okay. I was going to say, I was wrong what I was thinking. What song first to make it to number one in the UK, on the UK charts? See, that's what I said too, Martin. I said Love Me Do because of, the album with Now and Then, or the CD with Now and Then. But you know what? We're wrong. Believe it or not, the answer was B, From Me to You. And see, that's what I'm talking about. The UK versus the US. I don't know why they did it differently. I don't know, maybe specifically targeting, I don't know, advertising. I don't know, but it was For Me to You. So. Okay, in 1966, John Lennon was quoted as saying about the Beatles, "We're more popular than Jesus now." 1966, John was quoted as saying about the Beatles, "We're more popular than Jesus now." Is that true or false? Is that true or false? Anybody have a guess? True or false? The answer is true, definitely. Oh my God, poor John. You know what he meant. I mean, the jokester that he is. Oh, we're more popular than Jesus. Yeah, look at us. And of course, that was taken to be that he thought that literally. And there were radio stations at the time that began calling for people to destroy their Beatle albums. They had bonfires where they burned Beatle albums because John compared them to Jesus. You know, wow. Nowadays, anything back and kind of sad to look back and see how things were and now how they are. Anyway, okay, so let's do another one. The Beatles gave their last live concert performance on August 29th, 1966. What city did this monumental event occur? Was it Atlanta, Georgia, Jacksonville, Florida, Little Rock, Arkansas, or San Francisco, California? Again, last concert performance, August 29th, 1966. Was it in Atlanta, Jacksonville, Little Rock, or San Francisco? Let's see. 13. Okay. Gee, Martin, you're only guessing a lot today, aren't you? It was San Francisco. San Francisco, California. That's kind of incredible, isn't it, to think? I mean, they were first heard of in 1964 on Ed Sullivan here in the U.S. And then in 1966, they did their last live concert. Oh my goodness, only 2 years of touring, and supposedly it was that intense that it just wiped them out. Sadly, really. Okay, in December 1970, blank made the comment, "I didn't leave the Beatles. The Beatles have left the Beatles." December 1970, that was when all that stuff was going down. Somebody said, "I didn't leave the Beatles left the Beatles." Who said that? Was it Ringo, George, Pete Best, or Paul McCartney? Ringo Starr, George Harrison, Pete Best, or Paul McCartney? There you go. Yeah, I agree. Really, that was the important stuff, right? Okay, so in December 1970, I didn't leave the Beatles. The Beatles left the Beatles. Did Ringo say that? George, Pete, or Paul? It was Paul. Paul McCartney said that. You know what? Paul McCartney, yeah, that makes sense because wasn't he was the one accused of busting up the Beatles, right? It started off with business managers. John wanted one business manager and Paul wanted another business manager. I think that's what started the riff. Okay. The British Daily Telegraph once compared the Beatles to Hitler. Was that true or false? The British Daily Telegraph compared the Beatles to Hitler. True or false? I want to say false, just on principle. But let's see. Peeky, peeky, peeky. Ooh. Okay, that was true. The British Daily Telegraph compared the Beatles to Hitler. That was true. I'd like to know what that was. I'd like to know what the comparison was. That's crazy. I don't remember that. I don't get that at all. Not at all. Okay. What time is it? Let's do a couple more. Okay. What are the names of John's two sons? What are the names of John's two sons? Was it Sean and Harold? Sean and Julian? Will and Julian? or Chuck and Dave? Sean and Harold, Sean and Julian, Will and Julian, Chuck and Dave. Well, we know I don't have to look at the answer because it's Sean and Julian. I think we know that. How old was John when he died? Was he 38, 36, 64, or 40? 38, 36, 64, or 40? How old was John when he was, shot dead in the courtyard of his own home? How sad is that, right? Okay. Well, yeah, 40. He was 40. In fact, let's see. Oh, I don't remember the date he had just turned 42, hadn't he? Yeah, because he was killed in December and John's birthday's October. So he had just turned 40 a couple months before he died. Sad. What was the Beatles' last album recorded? The Beatles' last album recorded. Was it Revolver, Hello Goodbye, Yellow Submarine, or Abbey Road? The last recorded album. Revolver, Hello Goodbye, Yellow Submarine, or Abbey Road? Anybody? Abbey Road. Abbey Road is the answer. That would be correct. Abbey Road. Let's see. What was the first name of Paul's first wife? He's had three now, right? First name of Paul's first wife. Well, she needs no introduction. She even became a member of the band, much to the dislike of some of his fans, I do believe. But that would be Miss Linda McCartney. Linda was his first wife. What year did the Beatles debut on the Ed Sullivan Show? What year was that? The Beatles were on the Ed Sullivan Show, made their debut in the U.S. U.S. What year did they show up on the Ed Sullivan Show? Was it 1960? No, 1983, 1964, 1965, or 1966? 1983, 1964, 65, or 66? Anybody? Let's see. Uh, Anybody guessing? Okay. What year did the Beatles appear on Ed Sullivan? I gave it away earlier. 1964. 1964. February 1964. When the Beatles debuted on the Ed Sullivan Show. I did not see that. They came on again. Maybe it was the following week, and I did see that because I heard about it all. So next time I was ready. What was the name of an early John Lennon and Paul McCartney band? What was the name of an early John Lennon and Paul McCartney band? Was it the Bugs, the Blue Meanies, Paul and the Birds, Johnny and the Moondogs? The Bugs, Paul and the Birds, the Blue Meanies, or Johnny and the Moondogs? How about the Crickets? They didn't put them on there. No, they weren't. They were called something else too. Was it the Silver Beatles? I think at some point, Silver Beatles. But yeah, Johnny and the Moondogs. That is the correct answer. That is it. Johnny and the Moondogs. So, okay. Well, I think we had some good questions today and some good answers, and we learned more about the Beatles today, as always. So I will be back with another Beatles trivia session soon. I don't have it scheduled yet, but I will do it again soon. And until then, as I said, if you want to catch up with some of my videos, you'll find me on Facebook and YouTube. Sharon Schultz, the Bay Lady, combination of either or. That's where I am. So I will see you next time, if not before. Thanks for joining me. Take care and buy me a coffee. Bye. Hmm. Oh well.